So there was no doubt in my mind that the Corolla Cross G was one of my most favorite subcompact crossover SUVs when we first reviewed it a couple of years ago. And why not? It didn't have a turbocharger, it didn't have an electric motor, and it didn't have a dinky little engine. In short, it was just right. What's going on, guys? Roy Robles here from Zigwheels.Ph, and today we'll be reviewing this, the 2025 Toyota Corolla Cross G Hybrid. Now that we've been given a little bit more time to review the Toyota Corolla Cross G by Toyota Motor Philippines, I think I can start to nitpick and see a couple of details and differences it has from the previous model. First of all, the front fascia. The front fascia does its best Lexus impersonation with this integrated grille right here. Now, it totally omits that catfish grille design that a lot of people kind of loved and a little bit hated in a way, but this one right here is even more polarizing, but I myself, I love it. It still features that same blue Toyota badge right here with a blue halo, but now you no longer get halogen headlamps. You do get LED headlamps right here and LED fog lamps, which is something that I do appreciate, plus LED DRLs. Now, that's one more change over the previous model that they've added right here. Now, you got this new bumper assembly as well, but everything else stays the same. And you won't find any cameras up top right there, except for that one, which is the dash cam, and we'll be talking more about that later on. Now, moving over to the side profile of the 2025 Toyota Corolla Cross G Hybrid, and no changes right here at all. You even have the same 17-inch alloy wheels with those really chunky tires that I absolutely love. Now, if you remember my earlier review of the Toyota Corolla Cross G and its differences between the V and GRS variant, I kind of prefer this one because you can definitely go ahead and attack any pothole, go through any corners without having to worry about any of those inconveniences, or you'd feel like you're driving in a race car of some sorts. This one right here, pure SUV, and it's definitely of total comfort that you'll definitely experience. Now, unlike all other crossover SUVs there, this one has a pretty lower ride height than most, but it's still pretty significant enough for you to go through any of the road imperfections and at least go through a little bit of the off the beaten path right here. Now, one of the biggest changes though on the side profile here is that badge. It shows the HEV badge, knowing that the Corolla Cross G, the entry-level Toyota Corolla Cross, now has a hybrid engine under that hood. Now, again, going back to this particular design, the silhouette right here really grows on you because you've got those character lines up front and the front fender, as well as right here at the rear, giving it a little bit more muscular appeal. You got a floating roof design here, and the V variant, it's a chrome trim. I prefer this blacked out trim as well right here on the A-pillar, and of course a repeater signal right here on the side mirror. Guys, this is as simple as it gets, but at the same time, it's pretty timeless in its appeal, and I like it. Another change for 2025 for the Toyota Corolla Cross G can be found right here in the tailgate. As you can see, those are LED tail lamps. Goodbye to those bulb type tail lamps that you find in the old Toyota Corolla Cross G. This one is a welcome addition indeed, but otherwise everything stays the same. You got that body matched color trim right there in the lower bumper. You got an additional feature right here. This is the rear dash cam. The dashboard's right in front. This is the rear camera that works with the dash cam right there in front, so you're definitely safer when you're driving down the road, and you have that peace of mind knowing that everything is recorded for posterity. Still have the same backup camera right here, but as you'll see inside, there's a lot of changes that'll be related to that. More on that later. It still has the same offset design for the Corolla Cross, where you got the Corolla on the left side and the Cross right here in the middle. This, again, the HEV badge. Now, of course, before I check this out, you do have a shark's fin antenna up top. For you shark's fin fans, have at it. So you got a manual lifting tailgate right here, giving you access to all this space. Now, one thing I really love with the Toyota Corolla Cross is that unlike other crossover SUVs, you got this huge opening right here to put all your stuff in it. Plus, the loading floor, the loading height's pretty manageable, so putting in heavy items is no problem. And The floorboard right here is made of hard plastic, which is again a welcome feature that I really appreciate. On each side you do have these hooks right here. You got additional pockets there and a full-size spare tire. How Toyota was able to fit a full-size spare tire right here, despite the fact that you've got a hybrid vehicle, an electric one, is probably something that other companies should take note in how they did this, because having an additional spare tire, a full-size spare tire to be added, is definitely something that I would like in all my cars. Now you got these rear seats here if you need even more space. They fold in a 60-40 split configuration. Now they don't fold flat with the rear floor. Unfortunately, that's because of the battery that's mounted right there underneath. But at least it creates some sort of ledge. But at least those seats, when they fold down, they're flat on top, creating some sort of plateau, which is nice. All right, so inside the Toyota Corolla Cross G Hybrid, the first thing that's going to jump right at you is this huge touchscreen infotainment system. This is probably one of the best that I've ever seen from Toyota. It's really nice and sensitive. You got a good resolution going on with it, and it is nice and intuitive as well. Plus, it's got wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so you don't have to worry about fiddling with cables and all that. Another thing that I had complained about the Toyota Corolla Cross G, the previous model, is that it lacked any sort of USB connection. Well, this time around though, you've got tons of it. First of all, you got two right here on the touchscreen, a USB-A and a USB-C port. And that's not all. You got another one right here inside, a USB-C port inside, and your 12-volt socket is located right here under the center armrest as well, which is a very welcome addition indeed. Now, this touchscreen infotainment system gives you all the information that you need about your drive, as well as your vehicle information and your energy flow. Now, the previous generation had this really quirky energy flow monitor for you, giving you some sort of icon or image of the Toyota Corolla Cross, and of course the wheels spinning around and all that. This time it's simpler and giving you a little bit more flatter design, giving you a more modern look as well, so you can get all your driving history, the best fuel economy that was achieved in this car as well, your remaining range and trip consumption. Nice. So for all you data nerds out there, this is definitely a special edition. Another edition right here, you've got Miracast. What is Miracast, you ask? For Android users, you actually use Miracast to mirror your phone to this one right here. The Miracast won't work while you're driving, but while you're standing still and you're parked, no problems. Now, the Toyota Corolla Cross still maintains 6 speakers inside. It's decent enough, but for you audiophiles out there, you probably would be replacing that. But for someone like me, that is definitely good enough. So one thing that's missing here, though, is a physical volume knob and tuning knob. Instead, you get these small, tiny capacitive buttons on the wrong side of the screen. So you got your home button, your volume buttons, and right here on the right side, which is out of your reach, which should be the case anyway while you're driving, right? Anyway, right here, the steering wheel is now leather wrapped. You got a leather wrapped steering wheel right here. It's adjustable for both reach and rake. I don't remember if the previous Corolla Cross was leather wrapped, but this is a nice feeling, nice to the touch. No, you don't get any cruise control buttons here because this is the basic G variant, but instead you do get your buttons here to control the multi-information display right here. It's a small multi-information display, but same with the Corolla Cross as before, but this time it is colored and you get more information out of it because you're driving a hybrid, so you can get to check out the details and all the information about your drive, as well as turning off your parking sensor. Yes, this thing has front and rear parking sensors, which is surprising for something from an entry-level crossover SUV. Now, the gauge cluster is you got a physical gauge cluster. It's analog, pretty much the same as the previous Corolla Cross, but now instead of a tachometer, you do have this power meter, which shows you how much is being charged. If you're running on eco, it helps you out while you're driving to make sure you're driving economically. So that's something. And the one thing that they did not fail to omit is a temperature gauge. That's right. Even though you're driving a brand new car, there's some sort of peace of mind that you get knowing that you've got a temperature gauge right there. A lot of cars are starting to omit that. The Corolla Cross is having none of that. We're putting the temperature gauge. We want to let everyone know if they're overheating or not. That's not going to happen in this one. for now at least. So the dashboard's the same. It's the same sculpted dashboard that we know and love from the previous Toyota Corolla Cross. It reminds me a lot of the Toyota RAV4 Hybrid, and you've got the soft touch material on the middle of the dashboard right here. Not here though, and not on top of the dashboard, but where it matters most, you got it. And you got this console right here with a cubby hole. Now, another new addition here is a wireless charging pad, and it charges pretty fast, around 10 watts, which is fast for a wireless charger, which makes a lot of sense because you do have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so a wireless charging pad is nice. Plus you got more buttons up top. Now the previous Corolla Cross had that blank, so it's definitely something that I'm glad it's there right now. So those are what those blank buttons are there actually for. Drive mode, you can switch between Eco, Normal, or Power. Remember, PWR. I'm assuming that means power. Then you got your traction control button and your EV mode. So if you got enough charge in your battery, you can actually run this on EV mode up to 60 kilometers per hour. You tried that. Then you got your PRND shifter here. This is a eCVT. I'll be talking about that more later on. The previous variant had a normal CVT. This one, eCVT, since it's a hybrid. Trust me, this is something that I have to talk about at length as we drive. Now, one more quirk that the Toyota Corolla Cross G, the previous variant, had is that it did have a manual e-brake, but it's actually a foot brake right here. Well, no more. If you're a fan of that, Toyota actually removed that and instead gave us the much awaited parking brake right here. It was actually weird to be driving around with that manual foot brake there, even for the top of the line V and GRS variants. But now we can finally see here that you do have an electronic parking brake and automatic brake hold, making an appearance with the Toyota Corolla Cross. You got two cup holders right here, which is nice. The door cards actually have this soft touch material as well, plus contrast stitching, which is a surprise for a Toyota Corolla Cross G. Then you got this door handle right here, nice and chunky. You won't be feeling any creaks and patterns here right here. Of course, it's plastic. And then you've got a headlamp leveler as well. So I'm glad to know that they were able to retain a lot of the stuff that we wanted and added a few more stuff that we would absolutely love. This touchscreen is nice. Now you got another addition right here. You've got a dash cam. So no need to install your own dash cam. Toyota's got you covered. Even included a memory card right there. Plus that works with the rear camera right there mounted on the rear windshield. So for posterity's sake and for insurance sake, you can actually just go ahead and don't worry about that. That is automatically turned on. And if you need to access the whatever files that you have inside, in case, knock on wood, there's no wood trim here, you got into an accident, just take out the memory card or connect to this one using the Toyota app. You can find it on the Google Play Store and Apple App Store, and you can connect to whatever that is. So that's fine. You got dual automatic zone climate control. That's right, dual automatic climate control with the Toyota Corolla Cross G. It's right there, and automatic headlamps and automatic wipers. Now, one thing that this thing doesn't have though is those advanced driver assist systems. It doesn't even have blind spot monitoring system right there, but at least the side mirrors fold. So in case you need to do a Batman, you can actually fold right there, or if it needs to park. All right, so that's all the features that I've seen right here in the front. So many new features on the Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid G. I'm starting to think that we've already gotten our money's worth when it comes to the price hike over the current G and the previous G with all these models. But let's see if there are any additional stuff right there in the back. So right here at the back seat of the Toyota Corolla Cross G Hybrid, yep, the only thing that you've got here to play with is these dual AC vents right here, but no USB ports. It doesn't have those leather seats, those nice leather seats that we find in the Toyota Corolla Cross V and the GRS. But to be honest, this one is not bad. It's very nice and comfortable, and it's not firm, but it is definitely supportive, at least for longer drives. I myself, I'm 5'10" and a half, and I do have a lot of space for I got a lot of headroom right here. Got a space for my feet and my knees. There is a huge center tunnel right here in the middle because globally there is a version of the Toyota Corolla Cross that has all-wheel drive. We don't have the front-wheel drive variant right here, but that's right there. Just keep that in mind. You do have a center armrest right here with 2 cup holders. That's nice. And one thing that the Toyota Corolla Cross G has over a lot of subcombat crossover SUVs is a reclining rear seat. So yep, you can actually recline this right here. This is the first position, and if you need to relax even more, you can actually fold this and it reclines just a little bit, giving you a little bit more headroom to relax. All right, so that's enough of this. Let's take this out for a spin. Let's see if there are any differences between this generation, this particular facelifted model, if they changed something in the engine or just slapped on the hybrid in the low-end model. Under the hood, you've got a 1.8 liter hybrid engine. So you got a 1.8 liter Atkinson cycle engine made into a small electric motor, which gives us officially though 122 horsepower and around 127 newton meters of torque. So Toyota is very conservative when it comes to computing its power figures when it comes to its hybrids. So they gave us just those supposedly paltry numbers. And I thought to myself, that can't be right because my butt dyno says that it's so much more than that. So when it comes to steering, the Toyota Corolla Cross G Hybrid has an electronic power steering setup. For suspension, you've got McPherson struts up front and a torsion bar rear suspension right there in the back. Now, as opposed to the GRS variant, which has GRS suspension, this one is the plain old vanilla suspension that you find in the V and this one. Now, although the suspension is it's quite pliant, it's okay. It's definitely not wallowy inside. With the addition of that hybrid engine and a little bit more power and torque, it can get a little bit ahead of itself. You can actually feel the car going back up its pitch, moving forward and back as you accelerate like this and forward. I think what this really needs is a stiffer suspension setup, but for what it is and for what its purpose is, which is comfort and as a family city car, it definitely works. Now, overall power is definitely right there. I mean, I gotta say, you have to experience this to understand how much the Toyota Corolla Cross really has to offer. The engine, all the power of the engine goes to the front wheels, made into that hybrid engine, by the way, with the help of this electronic CVT. Now, the eCVT system, though, works in a very different way than a normal or a standard traditional CVT or continuously variable transmission. So what it is that for the drive mode, for the ICE engine, you've got a more traditional gear ratio working with it, helping it to move forward. And then you've got the electronic transmission working to move the drive for the electric motor. So you've got you don't have any pulleys, you don't have any belts moving the car forward with the electric motor. Instead, you've got the traditional gear for the ICE engine, and then electronic connections to move the car forward once it gets to electric, combining the two power sources together. I'm not gonna go too much into this, so even Toyota, even the other companies who have this system, don't go too much into it unless you ask them. What you have to know is that the transition between electric and ICE is so seamless that you won't even feel it. The downside of that, though, is that for people who want to have a more engaging drive, who are looking for that particular shift shock, as they call it, well, you're going to be disappointed because you won't find any of that right here. Mash the accelerator pedal and it's just going to move forward, and then once the ICE engine starts to start itself, you're just going to hear that noise in front of the engine bay, indicating that you are now running on either both the ICE and electric motor, or just the ICE engine charging up the battery. So there you go. That's how the eCVT system works here. And one thing that it has over traditional CVTs or automatics or even dual clutches is how it works. It's a simple system where you don't have too many moving parts in it, making it one of the most reliable systems out there. From my research, there hasn't actually been any problems with this particular transmission. So that bodes well with the longevity and durability factor of this one. So that's one less thing to worry about. NVH levels are definitely superb right here. Again, because of the transmission and the hybrid engine, you don't feel a lot of vibration coming in from the engine bay right there, except of course if you are parked and the engine starts to vibrate. That's because you were used to having a quiet engine because of just the electric motor starting. But once it starts up, it's not really that noisy. It's just that, you know, it creates some sort of a break from the negative space that you were hearing when you were hearing it a lot. Toyota's hybrid cars are definitely tops. I mean, that's the reason why you get a hybrid in the first place. Being able to save up on fuel, maybe saving the environment, but to be honest, it's about saving on fuel. City driving netted me around 14 kilometers per liter. Now, I could have gotten a lot better when it comes to city driving, but to be honest, in these types of situations, these stop and go traffic situations during the holidays, I'm very lucky if I can get double digits, and it can get 14 kilometers per liter easy. Now, on the highway though, that's where it really starts to open up. Maintaining a consistent speed on the highway, I'm able to get a nice 21 kilometers per liter. Now, one of the cons about the Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid G though is a rather small 36 liter fuel tank. So although you do feel, or you do see that you are experiencing good fuel economy, well, you will be visiting the pump a little bit more often than you should as compared with other hybrids because of a small fuel tank. But plus side though is that once you fill her up full tank, it's not going to be as expensive. So pros and cons. When it comes to safety features, the Toyota Corolla Cross has everything you need and nothing that you don't. Basically what that means is that it's got your basic safety features. You got seat belts, right? You got airbags, ABS, electronic brake force distribution, hill hold assist, and you know, you don't get the advanced driver assist systems that you've been spoiled with much more expensive cars. But it's got some additional features that I do like. You've got the dash cam system that records both front and rear. That's nice. You also get the backup camera right there. One more important feature that the Toyota Corolla Cross has though, that might have spilled over from its more expensive variants, are the parking sensors. Now, I'm not calling the Toyota Corolla Cross perfect. It's definitely far from it. Again, it doesn't have those advanced safety features. It doesn't even have speed sensing door locks. You'll have to remember to lock your Corolla Cross once you get going, unless of course you want to have a security issue right there. But of course, in time, that's going to be a few of the muscle memory features that you should be getting used to. Also, it doesn't have those power seats. Again, things that you don't need are not here. Basically quality of life upgrades that are nice to have, you won't find in the Corolla Cross. Now, if you do want to have those particular features, you can have them with the Toyota Corolla Cross V hybrid. Hopefully we'll be reviewing that in the future, but the cost of that is going to be more significant than how much the Corolla Cross is right now than it once was. Pricing for the Toyota Corolla Cross G hybrid starts at 1,498,000 pesos. And I've mentioned this earlier, the 1.498 million peso price point of this variant is quite a few ways more expensive than the previous one. The one with the old reliable 1.8 liter ICE engine. Now, one thing that at least this has over that variant is you get the electric motor, you get the hybrid engine, and of course a few other things that you can actually see inside and out. And that's, I think, what Toyota is trying to do here. They're not just slapping a new engine and then adding a few more pesos to the price point. They actually want to show you that you are getting your money's worth, and I believe that to be the case. So that's our full review of the 2025 Toyota Corolla Cross G Hybrid. Now, Toyota is definitely boss when it comes to revising and refreshing their current model lineups. They've been known to keep their models for the longest time as much as possible and then refreshing it as much as they can. And I can say it's definitely one of the best refreshes and sequels that I've seen. I mean, from the front bumper, the LED tail lamps, the large touchscreen infotainment system, everything is definitely what I was asking for from the previous Toyota Corolla Cross G. But I want to know what you think. Like this video, leave us a comment in the comment section down below, and while you're at it, subscribe to our channel and hit that notification icon so you won't miss any of our videos. It's been Roy Robles from Zigwheels.Ph. See you guys next time.